Get ready, because today we're going to talk about forming a good writing habit. And I wanted to discuss this topic because I recently read the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. And if you're not familiar with this, it's a popular nonfiction book, and it discusses how to build habits as well as how to maintain them. And a lot of the information in this book can be applied to writing and writing careers and the general writing process. So today what I want to do, I want to combine some of the ideas from that book with some of my own ideas, and we'll take a look at how to build a strong writing habit. Now, first we're going to talk about why it's important to write every single day. And once we get through that, then I'll give you some tips on how to build that habit. And once you have that in place, that's when good things start to happen. All right, now let's talk about 4 reasons why it's important to write every single day. And the first of these reasons is consistency. And this is what sets the table for everything else. Consistency is a key building block. If you are consistent, then habits take shape. And then all of a sudden, growth starts to occur. And on top of that, you allow yourself to become one with the creative process. Now, on the other hand, if you're inconsistent, that's where things fall apart. Because if you're inconsistent, chances are you're going to lose motivation and confidence in no time. And we see this with a lot of newer writers. They have these big dreams, they want to write a screenplay or a novel or whatever it is, and they come into the writing process all excited, they can't wait to tackle the journey, and then once they start writing, maybe they write out like 3 or 4 pages, then they lose interest, then all of a sudden their confidence shuts down and they never write again. I've seen many people do this through the years, and instead of wandering down this path, embrace consistency. Find a way to write every single day, even if it's just for 5 minutes. And if for some reason you can't write every single day, find the next best thing. Can you write 5 days a week? Can you write 3 days a week? Whatever it is, hold yourself to it. And if you do hold yourself to it and you develop this consistency, eventually good things will happen. Second reason is identity. And you'll be amazed at how confident you become as you write every single day. And this is because once it becomes part of your lifestyle, you get into this habit of creating, making mistakes, and learning lessons. And as those lessons keep piling up, you grow and develop as a writer. And then that idea of a writer, that becomes your identity. Now, one mistake people make is that they often focus on goals and outcomes rather than personal development. And there's nothing wrong with having goals and wanting a specific outcome, but the reality is, if you focus specifically on a goal, like writing a novel, if that's your goal and that's your be-all end-all, then once you do write one bad novel, chances are you're going to quit. You're just going to move on to something else. But instead, if you make your focus the idea of growing and developing as a writer, then over time you will become a competent writer and you'll become someone who can write more than just one bad novel. Third reason to write every day, it allows you to rise to the challenge. And there will be many challenges that you'll face if you plan on writing a good book. The writing journey is not an easy one, but it can get easier if you get into the habit of making an effort and taking creative risks. Remember how we talked about how consistency is an important building block? If you get enough of those blocks under your feet, you can rise to any challenge. Over the course of my own career, I've had many days where I took an unexpected step forward. These were not days that I marked on my calendar as breakthrough days or anything like that. I didn't hype myself up. I simply just showed up to write. I got some momentum going, I hit a stride, and then my best self took over. And because I was in the habit of writing every single day, challenges didn't intimidate me. They were just part of the process. They were just something that had to get done. Whether it was turning a story in a new direction or coming up with an ending or whatever it was, I just simply attacked the problem and kept moving forward. Fourth reason is healthy detachment. Now, you might be saying to yourself, why would I want to be detached from the creative process? Shouldn't I be trying to pour my heart and soul into it? And the thing is, I know it sounds counterintuitive, but if you try to force creativity, you're only going to scare it away from you. And this is because creativity is something that arises naturally from within you. And if you force it, it's not going to happen. It's just like sleep. If you climb into bed and try to force yourself to fall asleep, it won't happen. But on the other hand, if you climb into bed, you make yourself comfortable, and you allow sleep to come to you, that's when you doze off. With creativity, the biggest breakthroughs come on days when you least expect them. And these might be days where you're not in the mood to write, maybe you're too tired to write, whatever it is, but when you sit down, you commit yourself to it, and then you get a little momentum going, all of a sudden one thing leads to another, and then boom, you get a plot twist, or you get some character backstory, or something else exciting, something that you wouldn't have come up with if you were trying to force it all along. So as a reminder, don't force creativity. Instead, build a habit that allows creativity to come to you. And that brings us to the next part of this video, which is how to build a writing habit. I've got 4 quick tips for you, and the first one is to create a habit-friendly environment. Now, think about your relationship to the room you write in. Is it a productive writing space, or is it full of distractions and temptations? If it's the latter, either find a new location or make your current writing environment as boring as possible. Limit noise, face the wall, put your phone in another room. You might also want to go on your laptop or your computer and limit which programs you can access at a certain time. And I know in the past, I used to have an old laptop I used to use in order to just strictly write. Like, it was so old that it couldn't run YouTube. It was just a total mess, but it was perfect because I could at least access Microsoft Word, and then I could just type away without the temptation of going on the internet or whatever it was. And one last thing to keep in mind with your environment, try to create signals that make you more likely to write. This might mean something like leaving a pen and notebook out so that you're constantly reminded that you do need to write. Or you might have a situation where you leave your laptop open and ready, and as soon as you log in, you have a Microsoft Word document open or Google Docs or whatever you use. Little things like this can push you in the right direction. They can just make the whole process a lot easier. Second tip is to create a system for achieving your goals and developing your identity. We already talked about goals and identity a little earlier in the video. And the reality is, all of us have lofty goals. We all want to write something great. But most of us will fail at achieving these goals. And why is that? Well, it's because anyone can just have a goal. But to actually achieve something great, that takes countless steps and a lot of effort. And the thing is, most people get intimidated by the amount of steps and the amount of effort required. But you can make things a lot easier on yourself if you put a strong system in place. So start with a habit that involves putting words on paper. Then as you get better with just writing down words, then all of a sudden you write good sentences, and then that leads to good paragraphs, and that leads to good scenes, which leads to good sequences of events, and before you know it, you have a story that works. Then you try writing larger stories. And all of this is made possible by your willingness to do the hard work with mastering the smaller stuff and getting comfortable with it and getting consistent with it. Third tip is that small changes to your habits create massive impact. And there's a part in the book Atomic Habits where James Clear talks about how when a plane has a destination, if you slightly change its trajectory, like the direction it's going in, then that plane will end up in a completely different destination. It'll make a significant difference where it ends up. And this is a reminder that small improvements to your habits will get you impressive results over time. For instance, if you say to yourself that you're going to write an extra page per day, that might not seem like much, but at the end of the month, that's another 30 pages that you didn't have. Likewise, if you say to yourself you're going to research, maybe you're writing like a medical drama or something like that, and you say to yourself you're going to research one thing about hospitals or medical or whatever it is per day. And then at the end of that month, you have 30 new things you can work with, and that's going to make your world building much more convincing. And look, we all want to have a massive breakthrough and achieve overnight success. But the reality is, those grand scale transformations only happen if we take the necessary smaller steps along the way. And if you can add a few extra steps each day, you'll get to your destination a lot faster. And then finally, tip number 4 is to be specific when starting a new habit. And I think the mistake that a lot of us make, we say things like, I'm going to write every single day. But that's very vague, and because of that, it's only going to create weak results. If you say I'm going to write every single day, like what does that mean? Does that mean you're going to write fiction or a grocery list or a text message? You need to be more specific about what you're going to write and how much you're going to write and when you're going to write. So instead of saying I'm going to write every single day, get more specific. Say something like, I'm going to write first thing in the morning at least 500 words at the kitchen table. Something like that will hold you accountable because you have specific things going on there that you must achieve. Specific habits not only enable you to keep yourself on track, but they also enable you to develop your skills and systems over time. So I hope this helps. Question of the day, what specific writing habit do you have right now? Or what specific writing habit do you hope to start in the near future? Let us know in the comments section below. Thank you for watching. If you want to support the channel, please pick up a copy of any one of my books and be sure to leave reviews on Amazon. Entry Wounds is great if you like thrillers. It's about a guy who picks up a haunted gun and he can't put it down till he kills 6 people with it. Also, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Check out my other videos. Maybe support me on Patreon. And as always, remember to keep on writing.